This time, lessons learned from my experience at the Whirlpool and Pitney Bowes is the importance of mistakes. And what do we mean by that? If we look at Edwards Deming, he would say, quite famously, a bad system will beat good people every time. And so when we watched my session, Making Measures Visible, where we would have red dots, performance that we weren't hitting the targets, we would pursue those red dots, but it wasn't about finding the guilty party and punishing the people that made the mistake. It was all about improving the process. And Deming used to make this example in what he called the red bead experiment. If you've ever seen one of these, and you can see him on YouTube, he would get a group together and say, listen, your job is to take this paddle, dip it in these beads, and produce white beads. You dip that paddle in and you pull it out, and it would look something like this, where there's plenty of red beads to be found. Well, each of those red beads is a defect. That's a problem. Well, you would try to motivate the individual. Well, if you can get more white beads, we'll give you a raise. And they'd try it again, and they can't get any better because it's the process that was controlling. So we need to look at how can we reduce the red beads in the bin in order to produce the process that would generate a good outcome. Deming made this whole idea of driving out fear one of his 8 key points of his 14 points. And he says that the economic loss of fear in organizations is appalling, of people just being afraid. And one of the examples that I've got is this bank tellers was experiencing overages and underages. The bank tellers at the end of the day would balance out, and they'd be over budget, they'd be under. Well, the management said, listen, we're going to solve this problem. Anytime we find an overage or an underage, you'll be warned. And on the third time, you'll be fired. So what they did is they played the fear card. What happened is they put this policy in, and immediately overages and underages went away. It solved the problem. In fact, what had happened is that the tellers got together and they said, well, why don't we create these monies? If we're over budget, we'll save those dollars. And anybody that's under budget can borrow from those dollars. That overage and underage did not go away. It simply went underground. And this is people's reaction to the fear-based motivation that was coming from management. And it's basically like in a pilot. If you're a pilot and you're flying and you look down at the altimeter and you say, how high are we? What's our altitude? And the altimeter comes back and says, what would you like it to be? Well, that never happened. The altimeter is not afraid to deliver bad news. It simply gives its information, it's driven on facts, so that the pilot can make the right decisions. So, importance of mistakes. And when you're measuring, understand those importance of mistakes as well is a key lessons learned. If you'd like to know more about KPI Fire, you can visit us here, contact me, or visit us at kpifire.com.